back to Fayetteville as the Hogs get ready to run out their final game here in Fayetteville, seeking a 9th straight win, trying to close in on the SEC West. But now the stakes are even higher for Arkansas as that BCS race got shaken up by Louisville's loss on Thursday night. Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit join me. Guys, with Auburn getting flattened, with Cal going down, with Florida barely escaping, we're seeing the perils of trying to be that one-loss team in BCS contention. How does it affect Arkansas tonight, you think?
Well, first of all, it gives them extra incentive. Now, they got a chance not only to win the SEC, but they had a shot at the national title. 2 of those top teams in the BCS are gone, sweetheart. That means if they can win, they can keep moving up.
Yeah, if you're Arkansas, you're thinking about tonight. The most important thing is just taking care of business. Realize that the game tonight is very big, obviously. You beat Tennessee, you beat Mississippi State. More than likely, you advance, you get to the SEC title, but you still have to continue to win because now for Arkansas, it's bigger than just the SEC championship game. As you said, Lee, with these teams falling in front of them and with the Gators looking very pedestrian, if Arkansas wins impressively tonight, they are, without a doubt, the best team in the SEC.
Yep. Exactly. It's just a step, but it's very important. I don't know how you could not rank Arkansas as the top SEC team based on Florida's performance in a narrow win. Now, the quarterback situation. Tennessee goes with Jonathan Compton by necessity. Casey Dick, as the guys mentioned, is the choice, the controversial choice here of Houston Nutt. They'll be watching every pass he throws.
Well, you know what? So will Tennessee, but here's Arkansas is going to run the football. You can bet on that. And Tennessee, you can bet it's going to put 9 guys, 10 guys up there. Casey Dick has got to throw the ball deep for Arkansas for them to loosen up the game so they can run the football.
Yeah, I think the whole reason that Casey Dick is now the starter is because that Mitch Mustaine is a true freshman playing in the SEC. It becomes too difficult. The game moves too fast, and that's why with Dick you have a guy who has a lot more experience. Even though he's only a sophomore, he's been in some battles, and I think that gives this offense confidence because Lee is right. I expect Tennessee to load up to take away Darren McFadden's ability to run the ball, and eventually, again, it's one of these teams that's going to have to show the ability to throw the ball.
Great atmosphere on a chilly night here. The Arkansas Razorbacks with a whole lot more to play for. I think it'll be a test of will for Tennessee with some injuries, some suspensions, no chance of getting to the SEC title game. We'll have to see if Arkansas can seize this moment. We'll keep a close eye on Darren McFadden. His injuries, I know Doc Punch will have an update. We are set for a raucous scene here tonight. The Volunteers and the Razorbacks back up to the booth. And Ron Franklin. Ron?
Okay, Chris, thanks so much. Great job as usual. And this is fun, fellas. You look around and the series history in this, people are surprised when they see that Tennessee and Arkansas have not hooked up that many times. 12-2 Tennessee leads it. But I'll tell you, that recent games in this series have been so doggone tight. I mean, it's just been overtime and one-point games all over.
And Arkansas has 6-1 all-time in overtime games. Of course, Dr. Punch told us in 2002, the last time, 6 overtimes. They played 2 games of 7, so if this goes to extra stanzas tonight, Arkansas is used to that type of ball game.
Vavra prepares to kick it off for the Razorbacks. And this one is underway. And it is returnable at the 1-yard line, and this is Williams. Fumbled the ball, now picks it up. Everybody relaxed for a second, and able to have very poor field position at the 12-yard line. So Crompton gets the start at quarterback, and his return people did not do him any favors by putting him inside his own 15-yard line. Plus the fact, if you'll notice the proximity, they are right in front of the huge portion of the Arkansas student section.
Although the student section's been full since about 3. They might already be hoarse, but that's exactly what this crowd needs to do. Young man making his first start in college on the road. Make sure you're heard.
Hardesty is the tailback. First play, they give it to Hardesty, tries to bounce it outside, and he will have 4 very safe yards. Tennessee offensively, they lead the SEC in passing, just over 276 yards. They have 3 freshmen that dot the starting lineups. Number 8, Jonathan Crompton at quarterback. Hardesty, who we just saw carry the ball, number 2, and Josh McNeil at center out of Collins, Mississippi. The book on him, very good, still needs to gain strength to play that center position.
And watch center quarterback exchanges. 2 young guys in an environment like this could put it on the carpet.
Fakes it to Hardesty, rolls it out, pressure coming, throws the ball, and it is incomplete. And there was somebody close enough, that's Jamal Anderson, who yesterday, as we watched their tape, this fellow was all over the place. Arkansas, they've allowed only 4 touchdowns in the last 18 quarters. They're led by a group of seniors. Number 99, Keith Jackson, son of the former Oklahoma great Sam Olajubutu. Leading tackler also has a knee problem. And Randy Kelly, number 6, the third leading tackler on the team. And free safety Michael Grant lost and a huge missing part of the puzzle for them on defense. Third down. 22 and a half is where they need to take it unless they want to punt. Here comes the blitz. Pass, got him, and the ball is incomplete as it hit the defender. Chris Brown was the intended receiver, and it hit the defender in the back, I believe, and that's Weston Dacus.
Well, Reggie Herring, the defensive coordinator for Arkansas, second year here. He plays almost exclusively man coverage. Does not blitz a whole lot, but this time he brings 2 blitzers. So this is an all-out blitz. Dacus running stride for stride. And they wanted the hold call, but that was just nice coverage by the linebacker.
Britton Colquitt, a sophomore out of Knoxville. Here's the boot. Not particularly long, and the spiral is not going to turn over, and it will go out of bounds around the 50-yard line. Peyton Hill is the deep man, but he ran away from it, and it will be a very good field position start for the Arkansas Razorbacks as we take a look at Casey Dick.
Started the last 4 ball games of the season last year as a true freshman, and was really going to be the starter this year, Ron. He had a lower back injury. It was a stress fracture that's now completely healed. That's why he wasn't the guy that they turned to after the USC game, and that's why he's in. Exactly what Kirk Herbstreit said. Gives him a better chance down the stretch in this conference.
It's Hillis in motion, movement along the line, hit at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a very short gain for number 5, Darren McFadden. As we take a look at the Arkansas offense, rushing number 4 in the nation, almost 239 yards a game, and it all starts up front with the offensive line. Hugo at left tackle, Stephen Parker at left guard, Jonathan Louigs at center, Robert Felton at right guard, and the right tackle is Zach Tubbs, a large human being, 6'6", 335, a senior out of Coleman, Alabama. From the shotgun this time, and on second down throws the ball incomplete at the 44-yard line. Defensively, Tennessee allows a 100-yard rusher in 3 of their last 33 games. That's all. And the defensive line, Xavier Mitchell, they call him X, Turk McBride, Matt McLaughlin, and Antonio Reynolds at the defensive end spot on the right.
And they are so very thin now on 3rd and long. John Chavis, because they don't get much pressure with their front 4, wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Mayo comes off the edge.
Well, here's an interesting setup. You have both Jones and McFadden in the backfield. Faked it to one side, wanted to throw a screen into the boundary, and defended very well by Tennessee, and that is the reason. A smart move on the part of Casey Dick. Don't throw it because there were white jerseys everywhere.
Well, they tried to fake to the left and come back to a screen to Jones, but Xavier Mitchell, the defensive end to that side, ran with Jones the whole way, and Dick made a very wise choice, Ron, just like you said. He saw that 93 was running with 25, and he pulled it down. No reason to throw into that many white jerseys.
Hefney is the deep man as you get a good look at Jacob Skinner, the punter. There's Hefney right there. Skinner before the ball game, interesting to watch. Not necessarily overpowers, but very high, and this is a great coverage kick. Very, very high, going to bound it to 20, now takes a Tennessee bounce, and Arkansas will down it right there. So let's take a timeout. 28 yards on the kick, but no return, no score. Each team with an offensive possession. Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas, filled to capacity. Didn't see anybody outside this one trying to sell tickets. Everybody was trying to buy tickets. Tennessee still with poor field position at the 12 the first time. This time at the 20, hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down for a loss. That's Matt Hewitt, the linebacker, who will come right in to snuff out that play. So now Tennessee will be long on the chains at a 2nd down and 15.
Well, and the coaches from Arkansas suspected that David Cutcliffe, the offensive coordinator from Tennessee, would try to run the ball a little bit. And of course, that's Reggie Herring, who very aggressive coach. He's got a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. He plays man coverage so that he can do that very often.
Crompton steps up, pressure from the backside. He's sacked at the 10-yard line. again, Jamal Anderson. Wow, the junior out of Little Rock Parkview. And folks, take a good look at it. He had an unbelievable game against Auburn. He's a former quarterback in high school.
And just overpowering. He has such long arms on the right side of your screen. He does a great butt, press, and rip, where you butt the guy, push him away, he's got long arms, and then you actually rip him by you to run by. That's a great power rush move, exactly what Reggie Herring said he's good at.
Can you believe he was a signal caller?
I think he's at the right position now.
I think he is too. He is very impressive. Little draw play here to try to gain some of that back. Hardesty will take it to the 15, and it's going to be a 3rd down and 15. Keith Jackson with his first tackle of the night.
Well, Reggie Herring talked at length yesterday about his defense and how they line up, and the guys there. They're short a bunch of guys. Marcus Harrison, an inside difference maker, may not be able to play. Their linebackers are banged up all over. But he said, guys, we're an intangibles defense. We don't have a lot of great players, but everyone plays hard and plays within the system. They're playing great early on.
Colquitt, his first punt of the night, 28 yards. Peyton Hillis, number 22, the deep man. Good high coverage kick on this one. Hillis, fair catch is called for it. His own man ran into him, and he's fortunate that he was able to hold on to the football at the 47. 38 yards on the kick. Houston Nutt, 9th season as the head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. He and Philip Fulmer, the two longest of tooth, so to speak, in the SEC as far as years on the job.
And I like what Houston Nutt did after that devastating loss against USC. He went to his new offensive coordinator, Gus Malzahn, and said, listen, we've got 2 of the best backs in the country. We're just going to turn around and run it for the rest of the season and see how far it takes us.
A very smart move, and they've rattled off 8 straight. Stacked up in the middle of the line. Flag is down, and the running play going to be hit. And one of the things that John Chavis' defenses are known for, and that is gang tackling. And as we said, there was a flag down across the way. Wade will get credit for the stop.
And Casey Dick came up gimpy on his left leg.
Offside against Tennessee, and I thought somebody in the middle of the fray jumped just a little too quickly. So a play that was knocked down for a loss.
Offsides, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Well, and Mitch Mustaine will now come into the game because Casey Dick on a nondescript running play goes to hand it off, and he hits knees. You see that quite often, Ron, where guy coming to give the handoff, and that's an exchange thing. New quarterback in there, not quite been practicing with the first team, and so Mustaine has to come back in.
Felix Jones has lined up to take the direct snap, and Mustaine is split out wide to the right. But the inside handoff goes to Felix Jones, or he will take it inside, and it's close to 10 yards gained on that player, 5, with the 5-yard penalty just a moment ago.
Well, and one thing they have done as Casey Dick tries to walk off his knee bang is Darren McFadden played a little bit of quarterback in high school. He was a backup quarterback, and so they put him now at quarterback. And the 12 plays, now 13 that they've run, have been very good for yardage. He can throw it occasionally, but really it's kind of that wing tee, get a runner in there at quarterback.
Play action. Going to go wide. Has 5, has 10. Counted off inside the 30-yard line, and finally pushed out of bounds at the 26 is McFadden. That is a gain of 18 yards on the play.
Well, Tennessee loses contained to the outside. It's a little misdirection to the right, coming back around. And it was Andrew Davey, the freshman tight end, who came in motion and got a little bit of a cut block. And this is where Darren McFadden is so dangerous, Ron. He's got long, skinny legs. When he gets into the open field, his stride, he just starts running away from people.
Peyton Hillis, number 22, who's in motion right now. Paving block on the play. They take it back into the boundary. One tackle broken, and then McFadden is knocked down as Mayo, who has just been playing lights out this entire season, makes the tackle. And Dr. Punch, you got an update on the injury to Casey Dick.
Yeah, word from the Razorback sidelines that Dean Weber, the head trainer, says Casey Dick and McFadden just bumped knees. He's got a little bit of a bruise. He's going to try to walk it off. Should be back in very shortly, guys.
Okay, Doc, in fact, he just came back into the lineup, and Mustaine comes to the sideline. So it is a 2nd down and 8. They need to take it to the 16-yard line. No score, but Arkansas with the deepest threat of the evening. From the shotgun, throws it out to McFadden, and McFadden is going to take the ball inside the 20-yard line. And let's check in quickly with Brian Kenny.
Ron mentioned that Auburn lost at home today. What about Cal? One lost team, hadn't lost since going to Knoxville opening weekend here against Arizona, trailing. Nate Longshore, ball tipped, picked off by Ronnie Palmer, and Arizona upends Cal 24-20. That's the Taco Bell studio update, Ron.
Okay. Quick pitch, near sideline. McFadden inside the 15, inside the 10. It's going to be first and goal Hogs as Jonathan Hepney came up and made the tackle. But once you give him that much space, my compadre here explained it so well. He runs high, but he runs very strong.
I think that defensive backs really underestimate him, Ron. You look at him, and he looks like a wide receiver. I mean, Houston Nutt, his brother Danny is a running backs coach. They got him because everybody wanted him to play safety. But he is so much more powerful than he looks, and I think people try to tackle him high, and it doesn't work.
They pay the price. You're right. That's Williams in motion. Little counter tray to give it to Felix Jones. Nothing to the outside, and that is great pursuit on the part of Tennessee. Marvin Mitchell, the first man to come through. Tennessee concerned about Mitchell because he is gimpy with a shoulder injury. They're hoping that he can go the distance tonight.
Well, this Tennessee defense is just so thin. They've had injury after injury, and I would think with some of the injuries they've had, they want to keep pounding it. But let's not forget for Arkansas, Marcus Monk, 6'6", had a huge game last week. And this is the place on 2nd and goal from the 10 up top to the left. He's inside wide, Ron. I think he's going to try something out to the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, you have to get on a stepladder to cover him now because he can go high, besides being 6'6". They roll it in the end zone. Got a man, and it is incomplete. The ball hit the ground. Monk is the man they were trying to get the ball to, and the Tennessee defensive back almost made the pickoff in.
Well, and Monk was wide open, and Dick didn't get enough on that ball. He had to do a little jump throw, and the ball hangs. Monk comes, it's cleared out by Damian Williams, and Monk is wide open, and Dick just lets that ball hang.
He had to play defensive back right there. That is a nice job by Morley. Demetrius Morley almost came away with the interception.
And it did look like the ball hit the ground, so good call by the officials. But that ball, if not underthrown, that's 6 points for Arkansas.
8th play of the drive. It started at the 47-yard line. Felix Jones at the top of the eye. Fade route. Looking for Monk in the end zone. Made the catch. Is it a touchdown? Yes. Hogs 6, Tennessee nothing. To the record, which is 23, his 20th touchdown.
Ron, everybody talks about how great Monk's hands are. That's just an unreal catch. The ball was thrown back to the outside, not to the inside. Great recovery on that ball and an unbelievable catch.
Jeremy Davis to attempt the extra point. Ball is down, the kick is up, and it's good. So let's take a timeout. A very impressive drive on a very impressive catch by Monk in the corner of the end zone as he gets 1 foot down. Out the last couple of nights. They've been out there in some really cold weather, but they were not going to miss the opportunity to get a good seat for this encounter here tonight.
I bet you I know who won in Tennessee, Arkansas on that PlayStation.
Faber with the kick, and this one's going to go 3 yards deep, and they'll return it. It's Johnson, and he loses his footing. So now Tennessee will have started at their own 12, at their own 20, and now at their own 16-yard line.
Well, let's take another look. We looked at this during the break. Monk catches the back end of the football, kind of slides through. The question is, does he have possession of the ball when that right foot is down? Because the left foot then goes out of bounds. I believe he did, but boy, that was awfully close, Ron.
I would hate to have had to make that call.
Oh, no, I don't know if they'd overturned it.
By the way, McFadden on the drive, 3 rushes for 29 and 1 reception for 6. As Lamarcus Coker is coming to the ball game. Turns the corner, has the 20, and is out close to the 24-yard line on the carry. And Dr. Punch, let's check with you. What do you got, fella?
Well, Ron, this year Tennessee has struggled running the football on the ground. Take a look. In 5 SEC games this year, they have averaged 58.8 yards rushing a game. That's minus 11 yards against Florida the rest of the year, and that puts them at 107.8 yards average per game on the year. And guys, that's the lowest in Tennessee since 1964. Very atypical for Tennessee to struggle running the football.
Doc, I'll tell you this right now. David Cutcliffe is just heck-bent on establishing the running game, though, because like Coker's back in the ballgame, and look here, he's got a first down. So he has about 14 yards on his first 2 carries as Matt Hewitt will make the tackle.
Well, Arian Foster is suspended for the first half. He was breaking up a scuffle between David Holborn and Antonio Wardlow, 2 teammates last Saturday night after the loss to LSU, was arrested, and so he is in uniform because it's a school suspension, not an SEC, and he will play in the second half. But Coker is a guy that they've really wanted back, Ron.
Had him early. Injury took him away for the last 2.5 ball games, and he's proving tonight why he's so valuable. That will make the passing game go better. Got the pass in and out of the hands of the receiver because of the hit by Kevin Woods, who is replacing Michael Grant at that free safety position.
Well, and the coaches knew they could rely on Woods. He's not as fast. Michael Grant is a 10-400-meter guy, and the way they play defense, you want your safety to have plenty of speed here at Arkansas. But Woods has been a guy who's been waiting for his turn, a junior who's been great on special teams, reads this perfectly, and a perfectly timed hit.
And Matt Hewitt actually got a hand on it before the ball got there, but it was Woods who applied the wood. Second down and 10. 7-0 Razorbacks. And here comes Coker. Bounces it outside, turns the corner. 35, and he's out. Enough for the first down at the 41-yard line.
Well, let's take a look at Tennessee's impact players. Of course, you're starting to get a little bit of running game going that has everything to do with Coker, but Robert Meacham, the best of the bunch, one of the top 2 or 3 receivers, in my opinion, in the entire country. Smith and Swain, though, Ron, if Meacham gets double covered, which he will occasionally tonight, are plenty good. They can come down to them. Now the question is, can Jonathan Crompton, if Meacham is double covered, find the open man? I think Crompton can.
With what's happening with Coker, though, 3 carries, 26 yards. Now, all of a sudden, play action means something. Little counter play. Got it again. 40, 45, out to the 50, and finally going to be shoved out of bounds. That is another Tennessee first down, a gain of 11 yards on the play. And let's check in again with Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Well, guys, as you watch LaMarcus Coker run off the field, remember it was 3 weeks ago tonight against Alabama that he injured his left knee. He has a 2nd-degree medial collateral ligament strain on his left knee. Now, he is running with a major brace on that knee. And remember, he's a speedster. He's slowed down a little bit, but he has not been able to practice much. And, guys, normally that injury takes 4 to 6 weeks to heal. They have worked so hard on him. It's only 3 weeks out tonight.
And he does not have his natural gait back. You could see on that run, he is not 100% with his stride.
But Ed, he's turned the corner 3 times, so even on skimpy legs, he's fast enough to do that, which is much needed. They fake it to Hardesty, who's in the ballgame. Pass is caught and complete. Not much gain on that one to the 46-yard line. And let's check in with Brian Kenny.
Ron, a thriller with Nebraska and Texas A&M. Final seconds, Zach Taylor to Maurice Purify. 28-27 with the extra point. Nebraska clinches the Big 12 North. A&M back-to-back 1-point losses.
Okay, Brian, I was going to say that is Oklahoma last week, a 1-point game, and tonight Nebraska, a 1-point game. The Aggies playing good football, but 1-pointers, whoa. You'd rather sometimes that they lose by 30. Well, they'll say 20. Okay. A good job by Arkansas, but the twisting and turning up into the line. And Hardesty is going to have the ball down to around the 40-yard line. Keith Jackson on the stop. And all of a sudden, and Ed, explain why if you can, all of a sudden, Tennessee now finding a way to run the football, and they couldn't the first 2 series.
Well, this offensive line hadn't been playing very well, and Philip Fulmer, who's a former offensive lineman himself, a former offensive line coach, spent all week with this offensive line. He's one of the greatest college offensive line coaches of all time. He spent time with them, working on their technique. They've been banged up, and right now, Ron, they're playing spectacular. They're opening huge holes.
8th play of the drive. It started back at the 15-yard line. That's Brown in motion. Play action. Looking to go deep. And he gets takes the ball away, and it's grounding. He is outside the tackle box, but I'm not sure he got the ball across the line of scrimmage. And guess who again? Jamal Anderson, the quarterback in high school, who's now a defensive end, makes the stop.
Well, you got to figure that Anderson got tired of being hit by defensive ends in high school, so he's taking it out on all the quarterbacks in the SEC. You know, honestly, and it's not just his number, reminds me of Michael Strahan of the New York Giants. Of course, Strahan wears number 92, but Strahan, not the fastest guy, but just that power and strength and never gives up. Plays just like him.
Intentional grounding, number 8 of the offense. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. Loss of down, 4th down.
Here is the freshman mistake right here. Whatever you do, okay, go ahead and take the sack. A, you could have fumbled the ball and turned it back to Arkansas, and B, you lose the down anyway, so why not just take your medicine and don't put it in harm's way. Third time that Colquitt will have punted this half. Waiting for the snap at the 40-yard line, and again it is Hillis, the deep man for Arkansas. Another good coverage kick. This one's not going to turn over. Hillis calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 15. And for the first time tonight, after a 30-yard punt, Arkansas takes over with poor field position at the 15. But the Hogs lead it 7-0. So we are back. Number 11, Arkansas 7, and number 13, Tennessee nothing. From the 15-yard line, Casey Dick continues to operate at quarterback. He'll give it inside to the first man through. That's Hillis, the fullback. Hillis will take it for about 3.5. Dr. Punch, let's go down to the sideline. You have more on Mr. McFadden.
Yeah, Rod, back in July of this summer, Darren McFadden suffered a fractured dislocation of his left big toe at the proximal joint. That's the first joint of the toe, not back at the foot, but up at the toe. He had a pin inserted. That pin stayed in for 3.5 weeks. He got it out and had 3 days of practice before they played USC. He was nowhere close to even being 50%. But my, has he come on as the years progressed.
Well, he's really fun and really an outgoing kid. We had an opportunity to visit with him yesterday, as this running play is just not going to go anywhere. And the speed of the Tennessee defense. Ryan Carl, number 39, who was a junior out of Franklin, Tennessee, is the one who upended him.
Well, and it's obvious early on that John Chavis, the defensive coordinator, just wants as many of his guys around the line of scrimmage. Ron, they've had 8 and 9 in the box every time. He's going to challenge this quarterback, even though Dick has more experience than Mustaine. If I'm John Chavis, I'm doing exactly what he's doing. If you can beat us with your quarterback, so be it. You're not going to beat us with those 2 great running backs, or at least we're going to try to slow you down.
John, absolutely one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. Third down, they need to take it out to the 25. They fake a reverse, and he's going to go on top, looking for Monk, and this ball is well overthrown down at the 40-yard line. Not to make excuses for Arkansas, but I will say one other thing along the lines of what you were talking about and what Doc was talking about. When you are injured here at Arkansas, you put on a green jersey. They had 5 turnovers in that SC game. Nobody could hold on to the football. None of their backs had really been hit 2 weeks before the ball game, and you have to think that that led to some of that, Ed.
Absolutely. Skinner has the strange, and the students do the same thing. That's the angle he wants to kick it. He's a directional kicker. I think it's yoga before he kicks.
Well, this one's going to be very high. And it is. It's a driving spiral, and is going to be taken at the 43, hit immediately, and down at the 42. Hepney, and boy, that's great coverage. Number 2, Crawford, is the guy who got downfield and made the tackle. 38 on the kick, -2 on the return. Next Saturday, ABC is your home for the most anticipated matchup of the college football season. Number 2, Michigan, and Heisman hopeful Troy Smith, the number 1 Ohio State. Well, they battle, and they, of course, are unbeaten with a trip to the BCS championship game on the line. College football presented by Best Buy next Saturday on ABC, 3:30 Eastern. LaMarcus Coker back in the ball game for Tennessee at tailback. Pass, receiver fell down, and that one is well overthrown as contact was made, and Keith Jackson with a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
Well, let the arguments begin. Of course, Louisville lost to Rutgers. I think they're going to drop significantly. Florida squeaks by South Carolina, needed 3 block kicks today, including one at the end of regulation. Texas, to me, Ron, is looking the best right now. Auburn lost. I think SC loses. California lost. I think Notre Dame may lose. West Virginia, Arkansas could get into this mix if Texas stumbles.
Second down and 10. And movement along the line, and that was Eric Young who came out of his stance. And instead of a second down and 10, now it's going to be a second down and 15.
Dead ball, false start. 54 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You know, when you're 310 pounds and you get to going, it's hard to stop yourself.
It's kind of downhill. It's
yeah, a little top heavy.
So as we said, it brings up a second down and 15. Razorbacks leading it 7-0. This season, you see their passing offense, and tonight, Tennessee +2 throwing the ball. Pressure coming right up the middle. Short drop in the pass. Incomplete. Thrown very quickly. Meacham is the man that he's looking for. And, of course, Houston is going to be all over him. That's the matchup. Meacham out of Booker T. Washington in Tulsa.
And Houston is, in Reggie Herring's words, the best NFL prospect on this entire defense. Talk about a group of receivers he's gone against. Dwayne Jarrett of USC. Rice of South Carolina, and now he draws Meacham. He'll move all over the field unless they go to double cover Meacham.
You see his average almost 20 yards per reception. Third down, they need to take it to the 48.5-yard line to keep this one going. Here comes the safety blitz, running up into the pocket, Crompton, and he's going to go down. It'll be another sack. 3 and out. 3 of 4 of the drives tonight, and it's Keith Jackson who made the tackle and got the sack.
Well, it's not an all-out blitz. There's still a deep safety. Houston all over Meacham. Wow, he's played so well early in this game. And then on the outside, Richardson working one-on-one with Swain knocks him out of bounds. So even though the pressure was there, Ron, there was nowhere to go with that ball.
Colquitt needs about a 50-yard boot right here if you're a Volunteer fan. Standing back at the 20-yard line. They're coming after him, and a very high wobbly kick. Hillis calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 28-yard line. 37 yards on the kick, and Arkansas will take it over just inside their own 30-yard line. I'm not sure there are really any surprises in this game. In fact, that'll be the last play because the clock is going to start. Only 9 ticks showing up there right now in a very rapidly played first quarter.
Well, Tennessee did get the running game established a little bit. 36 rush yards, only 2 pass. So that's a flip-flop. But, of course, with Eric Ainge out, that's exactly what we suspected.
So that is the end of the opening quarter. And kind of Chris Lee and Kirk on earlier this evening. Thousands of people around their trailer this afternoon. And now tonight's ball game. And straight ahead with the handoff is McFadden is going to have a gain of 5. And he is in that hole so quickly. And that's where they really get you right there. No slant. They'll try to take it wide to come straight at you, and you better be in position to tackle it.
Well, and I really like the fact that Houston Nutt, after that, you talked about that difficult loss to USC with the 5 turnovers. He went to Gus Malzahn, his new offensive coordinator, and said, listen, let's pull back some, slow down, we'll get Mitch Mustaine in there, and turn around and hand it off to these guys.
McFadden this time runs into some very tough sledding. He'll gain 1. We'll have third down. They need to take it to the 38-yard line. Ryan Carl, we've called his name already a lot tonight, was there to make the stop for Tennessee.
And I like the fact that Arkansas is being a little hard-headed with their run. They're just going to keep doing it, Ron, because this is such a thin defense for Tennessee. They've had injuries all over the place, and with a 7-0 lead and Tennessee struggling offensively, keep pounding it because those 2 and 3s will become 5s and 6s in the second half.
Well, it's kind of like a boxing match where you continue to work the body. May not look like much, but it takes its toll over time. Short drop to throw, quick look in, and the ball is caught by Monk, and a gamble by the cornerback who was trying to intercept it and take it the distance for the touchdown. 13 yards and a first down for the Razorbacks.
And he's working one-on-one with Jonathan Wade, and Wade should have played the body, but Monk Everybody in this program talks about his hands. I mean, you know he's 6'6", and he's a great athlete outside. But when you listen to him catch the ball, it doesn't make sound. And that's what NFL scouts want to hear, no sound.
This is McFadden, a tailback, and he's going to hold on to it and take it straight ahead and have a gain of close to 8 yards on the play. Brian Kenny, what do you have for us this time?
Ron, another great finish this afternoon. Big East football, UConn and Pittsburgh, double OT. UConn scores, but instead of trying to tie with the extra point, they go for 2 in the win. DJ Hernandez from right here in Bristol, Connecticut, goes in for 2, 46-45. UConn didn't have to go for 2, but they did, and they got the win, Ron.
Well, they fake a double reverse. This is Felix Jones, and he's loose. 30, 20, upended at the 18-yard line. 1st and 10, Arkansas. They'll give him forward progress to the 17. It's a gain of 29 yards.
Well, the reason you do the fake reverse, Ron, is you get everybody, they have to stop. If they see reverse, the backside has to stop. Great blocking. Once again, Peyton Hillis, yeah, boy, he is such a good athlete, gets out in front. And Jones, listen, McFadden's fast. Jones may be just a tad faster. When he gets in open space, he's hard to bring down.
Well, they're going to go with McFadden again at that stand-up position. He'll take the snap, run it himself, he'll score. 10-5, touchdown, Arkansas.
Said earlier in the broadcast, McFadden played some quarterback in high school. They worked this package all spring. But as Dr. Punch reported earlier in the game, McFadden had the broken toe in July, and they couldn't run it until a couple of weeks ago, and it's such a dangerous package, Ron.
Jeremy Davis to attempt the extra point, trying to put the Razorbacks up 14-0, and he does. Right down the middle. Well, you saw that sign up in the stands. McFadden for Heisman. He's going to start getting consideration in this conference with these kind of performances. We'll be right back. I'll tell you, they have got a lot of weapons, but this young man is coming up so large right now as Vaver prepares to kick it off. Williams, one of the deep men, along with David Yancey. This one is not returnable. It's going to be out of the back of the end zone, and they will check at the 20-yard line with the start. And Dr. Punch, what do you got for us?
Well, Ron, although he has not been able to practice this week, Eric Ainge is starting to get warm on the Volunteer sideline. Now, 2 weeks ago, the junior quarterback sustained a severe right ankle injury against South Carolina. Take a look now. Watch his right ankle. You may want to look away. Oh, how did he not break that ankle? Last week against LSU, tackled from behind by Glenn Dorsey. He re-injured the right ankle and sprained the left. And now Eric Ainge is ready to go on the field and try to give it his best for the Volunteers here tonight.
Okay, and Dr. Punch, you can tell better than we being down on the sideline. What the Arkansas fans are trying to do right now, they do so very well. They're trying to make Crompton just totally lose focus. They are really making a lot of noise. Makes it to Hardesty, dumps it out of the backfield, and there is Meacham, and he'll have the first down. It's the first catch for him tonight, and he'll be down at the 31-yard line. Brian Kenny, we'll check with you.
All right, Ron, let's keep it in the SEC. LSU and Alabama over on ESPN. This is Keelan Williams breaking free. Williams finds the corner, goes in. It's early first quarter, 7-0 LSU, Ron.
Okay, I'll tell you, LSU has an embarrassment of riches when it comes to running backs. 1st and 10, new line of scrimmage, the 31. Hogs leading 14-0. Pressure, ball over the middle, got it. Virtually the same play. This time it is Swain, and he will be all the way to midfield. So it's a gain of 20 yards in a passing game. Bam, bam. But those are like running plays, aren't they?
And, you know, and I was just going to say, David Cutcliffe, they had everything was down the field on the first 4 or 5 drives. Now they brought Meacham in motion. He ran a little flat. You bring Swain over, he runs the out. It just easier throws for Crompton. I know Ainge looked like he was warming up. I would be shocked if he came in. So good job by Cutcliffe getting Crompton going.
Arkansas showing blitz. They bring it straight ahead with the running play. Whoa, what a hit at the line of scrimmage. That is Dacus along with Keith Jackson, who said you're not going past this mark right here.
Well, it is hard to put into words the difference that David Cutcliffe has made. So I won't try. We'll just let the numbers do it. It is shocking what his impact has been, not just on the gross numbers, but on Eric Ainge. Now, I know Ainge is not playing tonight, but just a different guy. He works so hard with his quarterbacks on and off the field. They're just an entirely different outfit now for Tennessee's offense.
Second down, they need to take it to the 40-yard line. They need something on this drive to answer. Being down 14-0. Breaks the way, 40. Going to be pushed out of bounds at the 36-yard line. And Hardesty finally stopped by Richardson, and now a late flag has come in across the way.
Well, there was some pushing over there on the side, and I'm not so sure they're not going to get Richardson for giving a little extra shove to Hardesty.
This is the deepest drive, even if there is not a penalty.
Following the play, dead ball, personal foul, 9 of the defense, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
Richardson is the man who will be penalized. And take a look at it yourself.
Yeah, don't let mistakes change the momentum, Ron. Listen, Tennessee finally getting a drive going. I mean, he gave him a little extra shove, but
the 15-yard stepped off, and the ball is now at the 20-yard line. LaMarcus Coker comes back into the ball game at tailback, number 22. He's a freshman out of Antioch, Tennessee. But they look to throw, and he's swinging out to him. And Arkansas had that one just covered all over the place. Dr. Punch.
Hey, Ron, after the previous possession, Trooper Taylor, the volunteer wide receiver coach, got in the face of Jason Swain, Robert Meacham, and Brett Smith and challenged his receivers to be more physical. He got right in that guy's face and said, you guys have got to get off the coverage. They got press coverage in the line of scrimmage, and they're holding you up. We are not helping this young quarterback at all. Be physical, get off the line of scrimmage, and get your routes run.
It's exactly effective. Doc, that's exactly what Arkansas has done, is taken them out of the game with press coverage.
Well, they're going to see Chris Houston all night on number 3, Meacham. Handed off to Swain, and he's going to be hit and knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. And there is Sam Alajabutu as we take a look at game track. Monk with the touchdown to put him on top 7-0. And then another sack, 3 in the first quarter. And here's been the guy, McFadden, lining up with taking a direct snap at tailback, and he scores on a 17-yard run.
Yeah, I guess you can't really call that a quarterback. You do have to call that direct snap, because he has thrown one pass for a touchdown. But now Tennessee well behind the chains, Ron, with a rookie quarterback making his first start. This is tough business.
Now, timeout has been called by the Tennessee bench. First timeout of the half, 9:57 left until halftime. So we're going to take a break. Arkansas 7-7. This Dark Panel Tavern and Steakhouse has been packed by Razorback fans. And we have had some good victuals there in years past. Third down. The line to make is the 10. Play action, great protection down the far sideline, caught for the touchdown, and there is Meacham. He got free on that one. So his position coach called it and said, this is what you got to do. And 2 catches on this series, and Tennessee is in the end zone.
Well, you mentioned that Michael Grant is out. This is his replacement, Kevin Wood. Meacham's going to get to the outside. Even though it's man coverage, they do leave safeties deep. And Woods just gets over late. There's no reason for him, Ron, not to be closing the distance over there. And Michael Grant, who ran a 10-400 meters in the SEC championship, sorely missed.
Will Hoyt to attempt the extra point, try to make this a 7-point ball game, and he does. So, with 9 minutes, 50 seconds showing on the clock in this first half, Tennessee answers. They are in the end zone, and they cut the lead in half. 14 Arkansas, 7 Tennessee. Will be
Cliff getting Swain and Meacham involved in a different way. Dr. Punch made the report about those receivers getting yelled at by their position coach, but it was also changing a bit of what they were calling so that press coverage wasn't taking them off their routes.
And I'm not sure it kicked to either one of these guys. You got Jones on one side, McFadden on the other. High spinner, and it is going to be returnable. And that is McFadden from the 2. And he gets flipped over short on the 20-yard line. And let's check in with Dr. Punch again.
Well, Ron, Razorback offensive coordinator Gus Malzahn has never coached outside the state of Arkansas, but he has a national fan club comprised of high school coaches throughout the country who have all called to congratulate him with a successful transition. You know, last year, he led his Springdale, Arkansas high school team to a perfect 14-0 record and a 5A state title. Then he gets the call that every high school coach wants to get. For 15 years, he dreamed of getting an opportunity to come, proving he could do it at the college level, and indeed he has done it. He has this team in the top 3 in almost every offensive category.
Tell you what, Jerry, go ahead with your report as we see the run go right there to the 20-yard line, gain of 2. But he brought along some prized property, didn't he?
He sure did. How about the quarterback, Mitch Mustaine, the young man who was a parade All-American? And what a sensational quarterback he was, known primarily as a passer at Springdale, Arkansas High School. 14-0 as a senior, a phenomenal record throughout his prep career, and they just sashayed through all the high school playoff games here in Arkansas and dominated in the state championship game.
This pass thrown complete at the 30, and that's Williams, Damian Williams, the freshman out of Springdale, one of the youngsters we were just looking at. It's a gain of 13 before Antoine Stewart made the tackle.
And it's worth noting because a lot of people in these parts say, why would you bench a guy, Mitch Mustaine, who was 8-0? But really, he was just handing the ball off, Ron. And this is a totally different offense than Gus Malzahn ran last year at Springdale High School. He adapted to what Arkansas was running, not the other way around. So Mustaine's still learning the system.
This is Jones, wiggles his way across the 35. It's going to be a gain of 3. Brian Kenny will check back with you.
All right, let's go to the Big 12. Texas Tech and Oklahoma. You know they're going to put the ball in the air. Graham Harrell waits a lot of time to Robert Johnson's second touchdown pass of the game. He's got 15 in his last 4. It's 17-10 run.
Okay. We'll be out in the South Plain at Lubbock on Tuesday to watch Bobby Knight's basketball team play as he goes in search of the record to make him the winningest all-time basketball coach in Division I. Good play action, wide open, the ball thrown behind, but it's complete, and that's Monk, and he'll ramble his way inside the 35 and down to the 31-yard line. What a great fake as Tennessee defenders went the wrong way.
Yeah, that was just a blown coverage. And Marcus Monk comes up. He's just to the inside. There's nothing fancy about it. There's confusion, the motion confused, and they used once again Damian Williams, the true freshman, to run by. It's not really a rub route. He doesn't run into anybody, and nobody comes over the top to pick up Monk.
Here we go with that formation again. Jones in motion, and straight ahead McFadden took the direct snap as a tailback. And you know what this reminds me of? I used to watch, growing up in Mississippi, I used to watch Arkansas a lot, and they were a really good single wing team. Preston Carpenter was a guy who was an all-star in '55. This is not a heck of a lot different, Ed.
And this is the answer, Ron. Everyone always says we want to get an extra man in the box, and what that means is they're not counting the quarterback as a runner. So if you put 8 men, there's usually 7 that can block, so you have an extra man. Well, if you put the quarterback and now the running back can block, now it's even numbers in the running game.
Well, same play, but he takes it to the right, faked it to Jones inside the 20, inside the 15, and he is at the 12-yard line. Ryan Carl on the tackle, but I'll tell you, he's got people missing badly now.
Well, he gets downhill so fast. Speaking with him yesterday, we asked him what he likes to do, and this is the type of play. Listen, they run that exact play with him at tailback, Ron. All it is a power down on the right side with the tackle and the guard, and big number 74, Stephen Parker, comes around. He said, I like to run straight at the defense. I don't want to have to bend it back and forth. Get me started downhill.
McFadden now 12 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown in this ball game. Well, next Saturday, ABC is your home for the most anticipated matchup of the college football season. Number 2, Michigan, taking on number 1, Ohio State. And it kicks off at 3:30 Eastern on ABC HD, presented by Best Buy. And we all have been in great anticipation of that one for a time.
Boy, what Ron English has done with that defense at Michigan, you can't even describe it. The athletes were there. Guys like Lamar Woodley, they were there. But he was promoted as from defensive backfield coach to defensive coordinator. In his fire and determination, they finally have that group playing at the level they, quite frankly, should be with that talent.
I see a low-scoring ball game.
Oh, yeah. I think 12-10, and I think there's a safety.
Wow.
Yeah, I just Michigan will be so amped up on the road. I think they're going to get after Troy Smith. Smith will play well, but I just think the difference is going to be that front seven for Michigan.
Our situation here, it's 1st and 10 for the Arkansas Razorbacks. They lead the ball game 14-7. We have just under 7 minutes to play until halftime, and again that formation with McFadden lined up directly behind the center. Gets it. He's going to pass. Got a man wide open. Touchdown, Monk. His second of the night.
Talk about play action pass, Ron. When number 5 is in there, everyone's going to come up to the line of scrimmage. And actually, a well-thrown ball. It wasn't like Monk had to do much, but just go up and get it. Monk's got some ribs, though. I think he's got a problem with his left side.
Davis with the extra point is up and through. You could see him as he caught the ball and he came over to celebrate, speaking of his teammate, and he pointed toward his ribs and said, "Don't." So obviously he is in pain, but he's playing, and he scored 2 touchdowns tonight. 21-7 Arkansas. Quickly with Brian Kenny.
All right, take a look at the primetime pulse here, Ron, and the games on the ESPN family of networks. LSU has just taken a 14-0 lead on Alabama on ESPN. And Wake Forest, number 18, hasn't won in Tallahassee since 1959. Underway now with Florida State on ESPN on ABC. Ron?
Okay, Brian, Yancey on the return, and he took it out. That's the best kickoff return they have had on the evening. And Tennessee will scrimmage from the 26-yard line. And now they need another answer, Ed.
They absolutely have to get something going. And Arkansas sitting undefeated in the West. LSU, if LSU were to lose, it looks like they're in command against Alabama, and Arkansas won tonight, they would clinch. If not, it could go down to that last ball game in Little Rock between LSU and Arkansas to see who represents the West in the SEC championship.
I'll tell you, they could go to the letter G as far as tiebreak in the SEC, or in the BCS, I should say. Is going to keep the ball and is finally going to be tackled after a gain of 5 by Kevin Woods. Let's take a look at the standings.
Well, of course, Auburn lost today big to Georgia. I was really surprised by that, Ron. Georgia had not played well.
Yeah, but 2 losses by Auburn pre-noon kickoffs. They got to get earlier wake-up calls or something, but that is really strange. They lost to Arkansas the same way.
But there could be a 3-way tie at the end, and as you mentioned, if there is a 3-way tie, they've already figured out it's going all the way down to G. Whoever has the highest BCS would go.
Pass in and out of the hands of Beecham. Got to catch that one.
Well, Trooper Taylor, the wide receiver coach that Dr. Punch was talking about getting after his guys, has another reason to. That's a first down and more. Houston's right on him, but Meacham, a long strider, if he turns that corner around, he may be out near midfield.
Houston took a heck of a chance to put the headgear in his back, rooting him out of bounds. 3rd down. They need to take it to the 36-yard line. Arkansas 21 and Tennessee 7.
Well, we have not really seen a draw here, Ron, and this is that down and distance. Let the defensive lineman get upfield and get underneath him.
Coker is right there. Gets the completion. What an open field tackle, because Coker had nowhere to go. Elijah Butu is the man who came up, and Sam is playing with an injured knee. They're afraid that ligament is torn.
He's got an ankle. He's got a neck problem. He's got a knee. He's 5'9". He's 225 pounds. But when you ask every coach in this program about number 24, they have nothing but praise. What an excellent finish of the play by a dinged-up guy.
That's Hillis, who is back deep. And heart and soul is how they refer to Sam. ugly kick, hit us on the run, and no fair catch was called for, and he gets belted back at the 36-yard line by Ayers. Robert Ayers, downtown quickly.
Well, we'll take a look at the remaining schedules for Arkansas at Mississippi State and then LSU in Little Rock. If they win out or win 2 of the next 3, they are in. Auburn is the one on the outside. They've got to get a win and get help. And LSU looks like they're cruising a little bit against Alabama, so they need Arkansas to lose, hopefully to set up a game that would determine who goes to Atlanta.
Casey Dick with the 9 formation. McFadden. This play right here doesn't look like much, but he just gained about 7 yards on the play. By the time you can get a hold of him, he's got those legs turning, and Reynolds and Stewart combined on the stop, but they're playing so far in front of the chains, like a second down now when they need about 3.5 yards for the first.
Well, Dr. Punch already talked about his toe injury, his left toe. Well, last week against South Carolina, he got tackled from behind and got turf toe on his right foot. He started treatment at 4 a.m. on Sunday of last week to be ready, and it doesn't look like it's bothering him.
The first down, and he's loose. 30, 25, 20. Hefney saved a touchdown. It's a 38-yard gain.
And this is where he's so long, Ron. He's 6'2", but his arms and legs are longer. Watch the stiff arm right there. You cannot tackle this man high. Demetrius Morley, I don't know why. There's very few defensive backs who have figured out you have to go down on the number 5's legs. If you try to tackle him high, he'll fend you off, because not only are his arms long, they're very, very powerful. He just pushes you away.
Already 124 yards. He gets a breather, and Felix Jones comes in to tailback. Flag is down. Tennessee was offside, so it's a free down for the Razorbacks as Mayo comes over to make the tackle. And I think the Razorbacks will probably take the penalty and make it a first down and 5.
Right defensive end jumping.
Offside.
No,
Defense.
excuse me, that was the right
5-yard
defensive tackle
penalty.
there.
Repeat first down.
In the middle. But right now, McFadden has 14 rushes, and their goal every game is to get him 25. They actually chart him. They go in at halftime and put it up on the board to make sure they're getting them. And I don't think they're going to slow down, Ron. It's starting to come in big chunks.
3:51 showing until halftime, and here's the formation again. McFadden lines up directly behind the center. Quarterback is split wide, and he hands it off to Jones. Turns the corner, and a good tackle out of the secondary on Jones. And that was Hefney who came up to put the shortstop on him.
It's Monk time now. Ron, if they pick up the first, you'll be able to pick up. I think they may have it. The ball's right on that computer-driven line.
I'll tell you, the big fellows on the sideline, and I'm not so sure. They're maybe keeping a close eye on that rib as they go straight ahead. Here's Jones inside the 10, down to the 5. It is first and goal, Arkansas. Jerry, let's check quickly with you.
Guys, Marcus Monk will be headed back on the field right now. As you mentioned, it's Monk time. They called him back off, but he has bruised ribs. He got hurt early in the game. I am told he is available. He'll be back in the game when needed.
Okay, Jerry. Good hustle there. You could see him when he caught the last touchdown pass when he told his teammates, "Don't hug me." He said, "My ribs are hurting." So McFadden again lines up directly behind the center. Goes straight ahead with the run. Touchdown, Arkansas, McFadden.
He's at full stride in 2 steps, Ron. When he decides I'm going downhill, he's gone. His acceleration is staggering. Excellent job in the middle of that offensive line. You don't need to give him much of a crease, and look how low he gets his pads near the goal line.
Jeremy Davis tries to make it a 28-7 ball game, and he does. We still have 2:46 left in this opening half. And let's check in with Brian Kenny. Brian.
All right, Ron, coming up the half, we've got all the highlights of all the stunners in the SEC, especially highlights of Auburn and Florida. Close one there. Cal is stunned, possibly looking ahead to USC. And now we can look ahead to another 1 versus 2 showdown with Michigan and Ohio State. That's all coming up the half, Ron.
Okay, Brian, our situation here, and we talked about it after the last series and how devastatingly good he was. Folks, in a conference this good, when you are just ruling whatever happens, and your offensive coaches have found even more ways to use your extraordinary talents, you're going to start hearing a lot more about number 5 and a candidacy for the Heisman, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and locally there was a little bit of heat this week of why isn't there a campaign. Let's not forget that they didn't think Darren McFadden was going to be able to play at the beginning of the year. Of course, he snuck onto the field against SC as a receiver and had a couple of plays, but everyone around here saying, what about the Heisman race? It's like, well, you know what? He's now in it, Ron, and I don't think you need any kind of hype. If he's going to come on a stage this big and play this well, that's enough of a Heisman campaign for me. I have a vote. I've got to start thinking of this guy in that top 2 or 3 for sure.
Vavra prepares to kick it off. And boy, they're calling the Hogs, and it is noisy in this stadium. Here's the kick. This one's going to go out of the back of the end zone as well, and add a little bit more fuel on the fire that is already burning in these stands.
Well, Darren McFadden has done it a bunch of different ways tonight as a tailback and as the direct snap tailback. I agree with you. We can't really call it a quarterback, or can we? He pulls back, and of course the safeties are going to bite. And the former high school quarterback, was a backup quarterback in high school, shows he can still throw it. But you're right, Ron. Why not invent ways to get this man involved? He's so good in so many different ways with the ball in his hands.
Hardesty in the game at tailback for Tennessee. Talk about needing an answer. Hardesty takes it left side. Gain of 5. Mitchell on the tackle for Arkansas. But even if it's just a field goal, 2:16, 2:15 and counting, the Volunteers, for mental sake and also for the sake of this ball game, they need to score even if it's 3.
Right, and Meacham, I think he's getting frustrated working with Houston, and Houston and him locked up. So physical tonight, and Houston's just taking these guys right out of their game. Their best player is in his head. He's not playing ball right now.
Hardesty hit at the line of scrimmage. That's Dacus, and it's now going to be a 3rd down situation, and they got to take it to the 30. Otherwise, they have to kick it back to Arkansas.
Yeah, and Arkansas with 3 timeouts, I think, should think about using one of their timeouts. I wouldn't let this thing melt down too much. Boy, Houston is just owning Meacham right now. He's completely taken out of this game by the physical play of Houston.
Houston's going to have to be careful for defensive holding as well.
I agree.
Pass in the flat, that is complete, but it's going to be short of the first down as Brett Smith makes the reception. Ball came loose, but the play was over. Now, he is very, very close. No, he's not. They're going to spot this ball down. Well, he is obscuring. You can see the yellow line, and that thing is so very accurate, and you can't see the tip of the football is not there. He's got to be short.
And if I'm Philip Fulmer, as crazy as this sounds, down 28-7, Ron, I'm not sure I want to see McFadden back on the field.
Well, but you're sure going to give him the opportunity if you don't make it.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they went for it on 4th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and weren't able to pick it up. But man, the way with a minute, just under a minute, if Arkansas got the ball back with 3 timeouts, and they did pick it up. So, the nightmare of Darren McFadden may be over in the first half for Philip Fulmer.
So, I mean, just by a hair, they get the first down. And for that gentleman right there, that is indeed good news, who has a record in 10 games of 9-1 against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Philip Fulmer has owned this Arkansas team.
Now let's see if they take the shackles off of this offense a little bit and let him try to throw it down the field.
They fake the draw, steps up, and guess who? Anderson is there again. Jamal Anderson, a I'll tell you, against Auburn, he had 11 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks. He's got 2 sacks in the ball game tonight.
An excellent job of a stunt. Defensive tackle to the outside. Big 92 comes to the inside. Ernest Mitchell. But it's blocked, Ron. It's just Jamal Anderson will not stop. He's got such a great motor. And the Tennessee offensive line was in position to block him, but he has such powerful, long arms. He just throws you away from him.
So officially credited with 3 sacks in the ball game tonight, all in the first half. Going to be the last play of this first half. Tackle is made at the 26-yard line. 2-1, and they head to the locker room. And listen to the ovation for the Arkansas Razorbacks as they head to the locker room. Let's go down to Dr. Jerry Punch with Phil Fulmer.
Coach, what do you have to do to slow down number 5 here in the second half?
Jerry, he's all man. We've got to tackle his butt. Got an 8-man front. We need to do that better when he gets in the as a quarterback is when he's kicking our tail right now. We'll figure it out inside here.
What do you say to your young quarterback at halftime?
He got to suck it up. You know, he's made a couple nice throws. We haven't helped him very much. We're going to have to play better around him. It's not just him. Play better around him.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Ron?
Okay, Jerry, so we are at halftime, 128 yards.
And they really caught Tennessee off guard with him playing so much at the quarterback position. They'd seen it before, but I don't think they expected it to see it as much as they have. And Philip Fulmer said to Dr. Punch on the way off, well, we've got 8 men in the box. Well, that's not enough. Because remember, now you have an extra blocker. And, of course, then you can always go to the play action. Tennessee, if they want to slow this guy down, Ron, they're going to have to go all one-on-one coverage on the outside. No deep safety. Bring everybody up around the line of scrimmage. If there's 2 receivers out, you're going to have 9 in the box to slow him down. Now, if Monk is healthy enough with those ribs, now he can become a factor down the field.
So we prepare. That's Will Hoyt setting to kick this one off. Will Hoyt, an interesting young guy who's already graduated, about to get his master's degree in sports psychology. We'll talk more about that in the second half. This is Jones, Felix Jones. Flag is down way back behind the play. They're going to take this flag all the way back to the 20-yard line. Now let's see if this is the push in the back or exactly what.
Well, Jones, who was a first-team All-American last year as a freshman kick returner.
During the return, holding 37 to the receive team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Ezekiel Smith is who they called, but I think they got it wrong. It looked like Desmond Sims to me. And this offense for Arkansas was so explosive. Their last 3 drives, Ron, 218 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns. It started getting a little ugly there.
Well, there's McFadden. They have not used him as the direct snap guy until they got inside the 30-yard line. So here, the quarterback, Casey Dick, will go under center. He still will be the man at the top of the eye. Blocking schemes are exactly the same. It's just he's taking a handoff rather than a direct snap, like right here. Flag is down, takes it for 5, 6, and 8 yards. Hefney is over there to make the tackle, and we'll see what that flag was about at the line of scrimmage.
I think this is the 3rd time tonight that Tennessee is going to be called for offsides. They're trying to guess a snap count, Ron. They're just trying to get any kind of penetration they can because it's the only chance they have right now of slowing down McFadden.
Offsides, defense, Bills guard, penalties decline, 2nd down.
Well, the gain on the play was 9 yards.
Right in the middle. But when you're running it as well as McFadden, it's a nice luxury to be able to decline a penalty like that.
Number 7, Reggie Fish is checked into the ball game. Top of your screen, a speedster. This is Jones, and he twists his way across the 25-yard line for the first. And Jerry Punch, let's check in with you again.
Ron, at halftime, Arkansas head coach Houston Nutt very pleased with what he saw in the first half, but very concerned because Tennessee, he told his players, is a very dangerous second half team on the road. And give a look. Remember what happened early in the year against Georgia? Tennessee was down by 10 points at half and came back and scored 37 second half points to win 51-33. Last year at LSU, they trailed by 21 at the half, came back and scored 30 in the second half to win it 30-27 in overtime. Indeed, he is correct talking about Houston Nutt and this dangerous Tennessee second half team.
Okay, did that one. Ball is on the ground, but recovering the loose ball was Jones himself. And it's Turk McBride, the senior out of Camden, New Jersey, who came in and made the tackle.
And McBride doing an excellent job. He was the one who was offsides this time. This time he gets penetration. He's working one-on-one with number 69, Zach Tubbs. And McBride, who's had to move around a little bit. He'd lost some weight to go to defensive end down to 275. And then when Justin Harrell tore his triceps, he had to go back inside. So he's a little smaller than they'd like him playing that defensive tackle spot.
It's Williams in motion. Sets to throw, now stepping up and gets it away to Williams, and that will be to the 30-yard line. So it'll be a gain of about 9 on the play. One more thing on Turk McBride. We visited with him this past week on the phone, one of several Tennessee players that hooked up with us. Turk is from New Jersey. He talked with many different teams who wanted to recruit him. He fell in love with Tennessee, but he said the biggest thing that he feared most, he did not want to get a Southern accent.
But there's 2 words he's picked up. Fitting and slaw. Fitting is fixing, meaning I'm going to do something, and slaw, which means someone's playing poorly. It's slaw. I have no idea why it'd be slaw, but it just is.
Short drop, pumped it, now going to go on top, far side. There's Monk, he's got it. 40-yard line and down to the 35. Jonathan Wade is the man that they turn completely around on the play.
Well, and Monk is not feeling well. He does a great job going inside to the outside. Absolutely spins around Wade. But look, he just wants to get down, Ron. I think those ribs are really starting to bother him. So they're going to have to find ways. You cannot run number 85 across the middle, Ron. Everything now has to be outside where he can protect himself. Do not let him get hit again.
Quarterback splits out. That's McFadden, and he'll hand the ball off to Jones on the sweep. 35-30, 25-20. First and 10 Arkansas. They'll set up shop at the 16-yard line. That's a gain of 19. And I'll tell you, this combination right here, okay, concentrate on number 5, and number 25 will break your back.
Watch the left tackle, Hugo. Actually, I think they actually went over shift to the other side, and Hugo had moved to the right tight end position. So they actually changed the strength of the formation and went heavy right, with Hugo usually playing left tackle now at the right tight end spot.
So McFadden again, will he throw in this series? He did for 1 touchdown tonight. Nope, he keeps it, and this time Tennessee is right there to wrap him up, and virtually nothing on the play as Marvin Mitchell, number 40, makes the tackle. Marvin, a senior out of Norfolk, also Mayo. He is out of Virginia as well.
And these are the guys that they have to get involved. Remember, this is the best running back combo in the country. Yards per game. They're second nationally in rushing behind Pat White and Steve Slayton in West Virginia. But of course, White is a quarterback having another big night.
This time it's Casey Dick going under center. Williams in motion again. Counter Trey. McFadden right side inside the 15. He's down to the 10. It'll be 3rd down Arkansas. They need the 6-yard line as Hepney came up to make the tackle out of that free safety position. And Tennessee's got to get a stop right here. If nothing else, force Arkansas to go for a field goal.
And that counter play, Ron, they will wear you out with that. And you know, it's so hard if you're John Chavis right now, because even on 3rd down, you can still run it.
To the line of scrimmage quickly. Picks it back to McFadden at the 10. Gets down to around the 6. He's close. Marvin Mitchell on the tackle. And let's see where they're going to spot it down. It would appear that he has the first down from here.
So different. How do you call a defense when on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5? You know they can run it. Typically, you'd think, oh, you know, it might be passing. Maybe we go to nickel. Well, we've got to leave all our big bodies in. And let's not forget how thin this defense is. And I don't mean their weight. I mean their depth. John Chavis just does. These guys have to play every snap, so they're just going to continue to get worn out here in the second half.
10th play. It started at the 10-yard line. 1st and goal, Arkansas. McFadden left side at The 4-3 ball is down on the turf at the 2-yard line. Tennessee says they have it, and they do. It's Jonathan Hepney who made the recovery. So the first major error by the Razorbacks tonight.
Well, and Dr. Punch talked about the comebacks. They needed something like this. Excellent hit right on the ball by Marvin Mitchell, and Mitchell, who is fighting a bad shoulder that he hurt against LSU, just puts a pad right on the helmet. Actually, it's his right shoulder on the ball. And McFadden, you're right, first mistake, but here comes the noise, Ron, there in the closed end of the stadium.
Not only the fans behind him, but the student section is right there with them between the 20 and the goal line. Very loud. LaMarcus Coker is in at tailback. Crompton gives it to him straight ahead. He's going to have 5, maybe 6 yards on the play and a little breathing room as Hewitt and Randy Kelly combined on the stop for the Hogs.
You know, Ron, there's been so much talk this year about the new timing rules, and of course everybody's saying they hate it. But what you have to be realistic about is that's where we are. And if you're Tennessee right now down 21, this clock against the running team is going to start melting. And I like Tennessee right now trying to get to the line of scrimmage at 17 seconds. Very smart.
Second down and short. Hogs show blitz, and they bring one man. Coker straight ahead. He'll be stopped at the 11. That's 1.5 shy of the first. Hewitt and Kelly again on the stop.
And once they get away from their own goal line, I'll be shocked if Philip Fulmer doesn't tell David Cutcliffe, let's get going a little bit. Crompton's got all the ability in the world. Let's go ahead and see if you can throw it.
Did you see his reaction? I think he was looking at the clock saying, where did it go? We're almost at 9 minutes now. Coker, the tailback. Meacham is the man wide to the right. Top of your screen. Third down, they need 1.5 yards. And they're going to throw. Quick out of the backfield. Got that one, and that's Cottom. Brad Cottom, and he takes it out over the 20 and will have the Tennessee first down plus about 10 more yards. Woods and Hewitt combining on the stop.
Brad Cottom, whose younger brother Jeff is also a tight end, is what David Cutcliffe calls the best kept secret on this Tennessee offense. And he said part of the reason he's the best kept secret is I have not used him. Actually, that was Brad coming in motion. And it was Jeff Cottom, his brother, who ran off the coverage. The guy runs a 4.6 at 6'8", 260. So
they're out of Germantown, which is a suburb of Memphis. 2 great-looking prospects, huh? Coker bangs his way right up the middle to 27-yard line. Brian Kenny will check with you again.
All right, Ron, let's get back to LSU and Alabama. Crimson Tide trying to get back in this one. John Parker Wilson to Nikita Stover. That's a touchdown. Now it's 21-14 LSU on top. That's over on ESPN. Ron?
Okay. And the Alabama quarterback, another freshman who is playing. This conference has a wealth of young quarterbacks and very talented, which says a lot as far as the future. Don't you think, Ed?
Yeah, Tebow and Mustaine here. Stafford at Georgia. There's plenty of them.
Got the pass very quickly and the hit very quickly. Swain by Richardson, and he's knocked down for no gain, maybe about a half yard on the play.
Well, Reggie Herring has to be so proud of his unit so far. I know we've got plenty of time to play in this game, but Reggie Herring plays almost all man coverage. He does leave 2 safeties deep, but these corners have played so physical, and really that's been the difference in this game. I mean, Darren McFadden offensively, but for Reggie Herring, it's been the physical play of his corners.
Third down, and they need to take it out to the 33-yard line. Coach Herring looks on. Lucas Taylor, number 12. Sophomore out of Carencro, Louisiana, checks into the lineup for the Volunteers. They'll go shotgun. Safety blitz coming. They pick it up. Ball is zinged and incomplete as the coverage on Meacham was so very close by Houston. He had already lost his footing, and the pass goes awry. It's punting time.
Well, Houston is just all over Meacham. And the offensive line did a perfect job picking up the blitz, Ron. There was plenty of time. But Houston, who has drawn some of the best receivers in the country, Dwayne Jarrett, Rice from South Carolina, is doing a great job.
There is Fish. He's replacing the usual deep man, who is Peyton Hillis. Hillis is a possession guy. It's Fish who will look at the 6th punt of the night. And here's the boot, his best one of the night. Driving spiral. Fish all the way back to the 25. He's a burner now up the near sideline, steps out of bounds at the 36-yard line. So let's take a timeout. 6:48 left in the third quarter. Arkansas by 21 points. Still 28-7 our score. The 11th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks trying to gain even more national attention and respect. And let's check in with Brian Kenny.
Ron, just a quick look at all the games on the ESPN family of networks. Again, Wake Forest looking for the rare win in Tallahassee. Haven't gotten one there since 1959. Haven't beaten them since 1973, but they're up 3-zip in the second. As we told you, LSU still up on Alabama on ESPN. Your game, of course. Let's get back to that.
Okay, Brian, little counter tray here. Whoa, hit behind the line of scrimmage. Penetration that time by Mayo, and he just fouled up everything. And Parker, the starting left guard, number 74, is limping off the field.
And Parker is the guy that they pull all the time. Almost every time you've seen McFadden run to the right, it's been this exact play. Let's see, absolutely. Oh, it just gets, and that happens so often, Ron, when someone makes a tackle behind you, you get rolled up.
He got a knee injured last week in the ball game, and he came out immediately.
And they don't want to lose him because he does such a good job on that play, reading whether he needs to cut up or kick the guy out. He's got very good vision when he comes around.
Maybe had Williams in motion for the Razorbacks. They fake the counter, steps up, pass thrown. Whoa, behind the intended receiver, Crawford, and Stewart almost came up with an interception. Looked like he was saying settle down or set. In other words, stop moving on the play.
Well, as much as Arkansas has been able to run the ball tonight effectively, Casey Dick really hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. That time he never set his feet. He had to avoid a rusher. Got his shoulders all turned around and never got settled down. So Gus Malzahn probably said, hey, come on. You stick to your mechanics. You still have to focus on your technique.
Well, what's winning for him tonight is the single wing.
Yeah, I'd go back to that.
Third down, 12. Little counter play, and here's McFadden, and he gets banged hard on this one. It still picks up 3 more yards, but it'll be 4th down and punting time as Ryan Carl was there to make the hit.
Hey, Ron, look at the time. 5:40.
Yeah.
Remember the last drive? Tennessee started with 10 minutes left in this quarter.
Let's watch Skinner this time. Watch the routine, folks, that he goes through.
And if you're at home, the noise you want to be making is
turn up the heat. That'd have to be a lot right here. They're doing it in the stands as well. I don't mean to laugh at this as his pre-kick routine, and we respect that. But the fans do it as well, and it looks kind of strange when 10,000 are trying to duplicate that. Very high, very long. Fair catch is called for.
It works.
At the 18-yard line by Hefney. Let's take a timeout. 44 yards in the kick. It's been all Razorbacks. John Howard Vaught did not allow married players, and so Vaught said you can't play. And the coach over here said, Mr. Broyle said, we love married players. That pass is thrown complete, and he picked up absolutely one of the greatest wide receivers in the history of college football.
Now, I know Coach Vaught had a great career. I mean, the stadium is named after him there. But why wouldn't you want a player? It could kind of settle him down, I would think.
I'll tell you, Coach Vaught was, I mean, he was very, very adamant about that. He did not want married players. And Frank Broyle said, oh, my, well.
As a matter of fact, can we help you and your wife move over to Fayetteville?
Well, you can't do that. Anyway, 2nd down and short. Here comes a running play to Coker. He's going to have the 1st down. And let's take a look at Game Track and how this one has unfolded so far.
Well, people have wanted to know about Darren McFadden's Heisman campaign. Well, let's consider it started, Ron. I don't think you need to send out leaflets and DVDs to think that this young man is playing his way to New York. And the defense for Reggie Herring tonight, the defensive coordinator, has played so physical.
1st and 10, Tennessee from the 33. They run a counter play, but hit behind the line of scrimmage. Coker, and he is going to be corralled. Look at the game tackling right here. The first man, Mitchell, along with Dacus. I think Dacus was the first man to slow him up, and then Mitchell came and got a lot of help from a lot of friends.
How many times did Reggie Herring say to us, blue collar? the other day.
Yep, and that's Mitchell right there.
And that's exactly what these guys are doing. They're all, and they're not getting tired, Ron, because their offense has done such a good job keeping them off the field. They're able to play at that high level.
Second down, and they still need to take it out to the 43-yard line. Crompton sets, delivers near sideline off the mark. Brian Kenny, let's check back with you.
Ron, start of the day, Ohio State, Michigan, Rutgers, and Boise State unbeaten. Could they stay unbeaten? Anthony Montgomery, 37-yard field goal up. It's good. Holding off San Jose State. They needed a touchdown and the 2, then the field goal to get this win, but they stay undefeated, Ron.
Okay, we saw Boise earlier this year playing that one a little close to the vest.
And they need some beauty points if they want to sneak into that top 12 to get an automatic berth, and that's not going to help.
That would not be a beauty point tonight.
No.
Third down. There are 10 men in the box. Steps up, throws it, and it's thrown behind the receiver at the 40-yard line. Meacham, the guy that the pass was intended for, but Mitchell and Keith Jackson with tremendous pressure on the Tennessee quarterback.
Well, and Keith Jackson, whose father, Keith Jackson, two-time All-American in Oklahoma, a bunch of Pro Bowls in the NFL as a tight end, now does the color commentary for the Arkansas radio broadcast. I'm sure he's pretty excited about that play.
7th time that Colquitt has had to punt tonight, and Britton this time is standing at the 13-yard line. Beautiful kick, very long, very high. Fish signals for the fair catch and makes it back at the 27-yard line. So as we head to break, 28-7 Arkansas on top, and look at the frustration on the face of Tennessee's leading receiver. He has worked very hard, not happening. By Pioneer Plasma. Direct snap to McFadden, and it's Jones on the end around, and he will take it out across the 30 to the 31. Ryan Carl again making the stop. So this time Arkansas elects to go with literally a single wing set or the direct snap to McFadden that has worked so magically for them tonight.
You know, it's funny, Dr. Punch told the story earlier about Gus Malzahn, the new offensive coordinator from Springdale High School, and he was really a passing guy. So he's totally changed as a play caller to fit the talent that they have here at Arkansas.
It's Jones in motion again. Little play action, going to throw back over the middle, has it complete at the 35. That's Monk. And with those sore ribs, I can't imagine that he enjoyed making that catch in traffic. Let's check in with Dr. Punch, who's got an update on some injuries.
Yeah, Ron, a couple of injured Razorbacks. The offensive guard, Stephen Parker, came off a moment ago in the locker room. He has a sublux patella. Basically, the kneecap has moved to one side. They're in there trying to tape it in position and getting back out on the field. And by the way, their big bull, the fullback, Peyton Hillis, a deep thigh bruise and mild knee sprain. He may not be in for very much action here for the rest of the night.
Okay, Jerry, thanks. That's great hustle. Hillis did have the thigh bruise, which was really bothering him, and obviously got banged on it again tonight. Third down. They need to take it to the 38. Pass thrown. It is complete. That's Monk out at the 46-yard line. Jonathan Wade defending, making the tackle, but it's a gain of 13.
The one thing that everybody talks about with Monk, as a matter of fact, Casey Dick told us he's never seen Monk catch the ball with his body. He runs a slant, he gets his hands up, but boy, those ribs, he just wants to get down as soon as he makes a catch. They're going to need to keep him in there to keep this clock is just really starting to work against Tennessee, but Monk is awfully sore.
We are under 1 minute to play in the third quarter. Arkansas 28-7. McFadden, and he is stopped at the 50-yard line, and let's take a look at Monk and his night.
7 catches, 117 yards, and this one just an unbelievable catch. Couldn't tell if that was the hit. As he gets up, it looks like that might have been the one that got his ribs. And then McFadden, who had been running the ball, brought the safeties down. And then after the touchdown, the celebration, telling his teammates, listen, I know you want to celebrate, but just I'm really. And you know the hard part, Ron? It's hard to breathe. You know, you're going to get hit, but it's very difficult running those deep routes to catch your breath.
Williams in motion. Little counter play. See him pull the lineman, and here he goes again. McFadden, as Boy, that flag came down hard and quick from the umpire. That's holding. I don't think there's much doubt about that. So they will not have the first down.
Well, it was thrown right at Wes Murphy and for Rod Jackson. So the fullback or the tight end here.
Holding. Offense, 89. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Wes Murphy.
Let's take a look at Murphy working there on number 94, Wes Brown. Yep, got to let him go. I don't think with McFadden the way he runs, you know, that's the one thing about the way McFadden runs. You just don't have to hold your blocks for very long. He gets by you so quickly.
That's only the third penalty against Arkansas tonight. The biggest thing that they have done as we come to the end of the third quarter as far as a mistake was to make McFadden fumble inside the 5-yard line. And beyond that, they don't have many bad acts tonight. We head to the final 15. 28 Arkansas, 7 Tennessee. Was trotting onto the field, so we assume that they're preparing him to play again. Here's McFadden. Turns the corner. 45, 50, 45, and then is knocked out of bounds hard at that point by Morley. He is very close to the first down, so that's a gain of 14 yards in the play.
Well, if you look where we talked earlier about where McFadden likes to run, there's no mystery to it. It's between the tackles. He likes to get right downhill. They don't, you know, they used to run some more zone type running schemes, Ron, and they're almost gone. Everything is almost a double team at the point of attack, someone pulling or a fullback leading, because that's the type of running back McFadden is.
Well, now he is lined up directly behind the center again. Gets it, then collides with Jones, and as a result, the play goes nowhere. That's a nice move by Mayo, and it's going to be 4th down for Arkansas.
Mayo out of that Tidewater area in Virginia. They expect big things out of him. And the crowd wanting Houston not to go. No, it's 28-7.
Mayo is one of many kids there. Most of them went to Virginia Tech. He said, I wanted to be a little different.
All of his buddies went to Virginia Tech. He's got 4 friends that start on the Virginia Tech defense.
So here is the pre-kick ritual by Jacob Skinner, senior out of Texarkana, Texas. This one, fair catch, called for, and he muffed it. And the pile at the 15-yard line, I believe that Hetney recovered his own muff. Good is the man who helped out. 14:05 left in the ball game. Score remains the same. Tennessee down by 3 scores. To the line of scrimmage, Arian Foster, who was suspended for the first half of tonight's ball game, is in and playing. Number 27, a tailback. Quick out pass, fires this one complete. It'll only go for a couple to Brett Smith. Brett, I'm sure, wanted to have a big one tonight. He's out of Warren, Arkansas.
Darius Vanette on the tackle. Another corner that was banged up, had a bad knee, came back, and with the way that they play, they need to be able to rotate some guys in, and the key to that play, Ron, keeping them in bounds. I think Tennessee needs to go to a hurry-up. I don't think they can huddle for the rest of the game.
Arian Foster continues to operate at tailback. Pass thrown back against the grain. Now tight end, that's Brad Cottom. Close to the first down, and in fact, from where they've spotted it, it would appear that he would have it. Dacus on the stop for Arkansas. Yeah, where they placed it down, it'll move the sticks for Tennessee. We are already at the 13:07 mark, though.
Well, it has not been a very good night. Unbelievable. 93 yards passing there, the #1 passing team in the SEC, and the #1 receiver has been held to 38 receiving yards. It's just been domination by Arkansas.
With his first carry, tries to cut it back into the middle. He'll go for maybe 1, and that's about it.
And I think a lot of people, Ron, might say, well, okay, Eric Ainge, who was the leading passer in the SEC, is not playing. But listen, Crompton's had nowhere to go with the ball. The coverage has been so tight and so physical that even a healthy Eric Ainge, I don't know if the numbers would be that much better, because the receivers have just been taken out of this ball game by the press coverage of Arkansas.
2nd down and 10. Intercepted. Woods inside the 20. He's down to the 16. it's Ernest Mitchell who forced the quick pass.
Yeah, Mitchell was right down around the legs of Crompton and hit him right as he went to throw it. And Kevin Woods, who's filling in for the injured Michael Grant, who blew out his knee last week. Mitchell, way to finish it. Foster went to cut block him, and Mitchell just continued to don't go down. Work your hands on the ground so you don't go down, and that ball got away from Crompton as he was hit. And Woods, a former special teamer in there because of Michael Grant, gets the gift.
So a youngster who was playing, replacing an outstanding player in Michael Grant, who was gone with an injury, and I'm not sure he's not going to be back, is he?
No, he totally blew it out. He landed funny. It was just an awful injury last week against USC.
So first down at the Tennessee 16, and in the I formation, McFadden has 5, 6, and maybe 7 yards, and Brian Kenny will check with you again.
Well, Ron, 3 of the BCS top 8 this week have lost: Louisville, Auburn, and Cal. How about Texas? Here, Leon Patton, 8-yard touchdown run, 21-14 K-State leading Texas. Colt McCoy not playing. Quarterback knocked woozy early. Ron.
Okay, so the Texas Longhorns on the ropes.
And you've got to start thinking of Arkansas as a legitimate team in those one-loss teams, Ron. I think they've been getting jobbed a little bit in the polls. Number 11 in both human polls. I think you got to start thinking about them in that mix.
Here's McFadden straight ahead. He'll take it for a couple. Not enough for the first down. And as we take a look at the BCS.
Well, there's a bunch of teams going down. We know we're going to have a loser at the top next week. Louisville went down. Florida struggled against South Carolina today. Texas struggling against Kent State. Auburn already down. USC's playing against Oregon tonight. Cal went down. I think Notre Dame's going to lose again. And I think Arkansas just fight better than West Virginia. So I think they'll end up ahead of them when all things are said and done.
Third down. Pitch back goes to McFadden. Cuts it back against the grain. Under heavy pressure. Still under heavy pressure, and he goes down at the 10. Boy, you talk about we're not going to give up attitude on the part of the Tennessee defense. They corralled him after nothing right, nothing left, and then the stop came by Hefney. Good job of hustle. McLaughlin, also Mayo. Fourth down, and now 76,000 quarterbacks saying, well, let's go for it. It's not our job.
No. Let's kick this.
Well, this means that Jeremy Davis will come on and attempt field goal. Let's see, they're going to place it down at about the 19-yard line. So a 29-yard attempt.
Davis has been perfect this year inside of 40, 4 of 4. So this is almost a gimme.
Officially, they're saying 28. Good pass and good kick. So we'll take a timeout. Our new score, Arkansas 31, Tennessee 7. We'll be right back. All of the hangouts in downtown have been aglow and filled with people. They have had great anticipation for this one here tonight. Weather, the temperature is really dropping right now. It's supposed to go into the upper 20s, and they're not bothered by that. The warmth of what this football team is doing is carrying everybody. Baber with the kick, and this one's going to go 5 yards deep, and it'll be no return. And Dr. Jerry Punch, let's check in with you again.
Guys, in the Razorbacks locker room at halftime, you would have thought they were down by 21 as opposed to up by 21. That guy right there, Reggie Herring, was jumping around, barking, chewing people. He's fun to watch. It's got to be fun to play for, but he was concerned because some of his guys were allowing receivers to get off press coverage and man coverage, and concerned about some of the safety play. He was all over those guys at halftime, and in fact, they were up by 21 points. What a fun guy to be around.
First down, Tennessee from the 20-yard line. See if they can get some offense going right here. Little play action. Sings it out of the backfield, and it is dropped by Brad Cottom.
You know, it's funny, Ron, because Houston Nutt actually first met Reggie Herring back in 1981. They GA'd together. They were graduate assistants together under Jimmy Johnson at Oklahoma State. And the first couple of weeks, Houston Nutt was out on the practice field, and all he heard was this young graduate assistant on defense yelling and screaming and sweating and huffing and puffing. And Houston actually thought, well, if I'm going to be a coach, I might have to start yelling a little more. And as he got to know Reggie, he said, well, no, that's just Reggie. I'll leave the yelling to him. I'll be a little more calm, cool, and correct.
See the difference? Coach Nutt still has his hair.
That's what did it.
Hit in the backfield. Wow. Great penetration. Coker had no place to go. Robinson right there to make the hit on him. I'm sorry, it was Hardesty. 20 or number 2 rather than 22.
And the other thing, Reggie Herring, he doesn't put too much stuff in for his kids. He says we don't want to outsmart ourselves. He had that wristband he's got on, Ron. He showed it to us the other day. That's the smallest number of calls I've ever seen by any defensive coordinator. And his theory is, I just don't want my guys thinking. I want him playing hard. He's got it. It's happening tonight.
3rd down and 12. And here comes the crowd again. They need the 30-yard line. That ball is tipped, and it is thrown helplessly as a flag goes down.
I believe it may be roughing the passer.
Jamal Anderson was all over the quarterback, but this time it may cost him.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Robinson.
Roughing the passer, 92 of the defense, to the head, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Check that. It was Robinson who had him wrapped up, but they're going to get Anderson because of, let's see if he goes to the head. Oh, Ron, he hit his arm and his shoulder. You know, listen, I know they want to protect quarterbacks, but when a defender is going in trying to bat a pass down and doesn't even hit the head, I don't think you should make the call. I understand why the rule's in. It's for safety, but that's a hustle play, and he didn't even make contact with the quarterback's head.
Well, you could see the reaction. Now the crowd, 76,000 judging, and you can tell what they think. Minus a few Tennessee fans who are in here, journeyed down from the Volunteer State. 15 yards stepped off in the new line of scrimmage to 33. Swings it out in the backfield. Complete to Hardesty. Hit and knocked down for a 3-yard loss. Anderson, the first man. Elijah Butu was the second man to get there. And it is a very tough night.
Well, boy, how high is Arkansas? Listen, we're still in the throes of the 2006 season, but how high is this team going to be ranked going into the preseason next year, Ron? This defensive line, only one senior in Keith Jackson, and Jamal Anderson. He's going to be an all-SEC, and he's going to have to start being thought about as a first-team All-American in my book.
Under 8 minutes to play in our ball game. Compton sets to throw. Over the middle, got it complete. And that is to Smith. And now they say did not catch the ball, that it hit the ground. So it'll be 3rd down at about 13 yards for the 1st down. David Cutcliffe has tried to work his magic tonight, but the point that Ed has made several times this evening, not sure it would have mattered who was quarterback. That's a very good call right there.
Well, but it hit him right. I mean, he's got to run through that
But
ball.
It's a thing that, you know, they have just had not enough time to do a whole heck of a lot of anything. Everybody has had to rush, or they thought they'd have to. 3rd down. They need the 43. That one is low and away. 4th down and punting time for Tennessee. And now there should be quite a hand, quite an ovation for this defense. There it comes. Fish is the deep man, number 7. And he has dropped off to the 30-yard line. This is 8 punts. This ties a career high. Oh, what a kick right here. All the way back to the 20-yard line. Fish, and he'll have a return of about 8, and then whoop, that's the end of it right there. 49 yards on the kick and 8 on the return. We're back 31-7 our score, and here's tonight's sharp Aquos image of the game.
And it's been, for Tennessee, it's like watching The Shining in high definition. I mean, it's been a horror movie tonight, watching Darren McFadden all over the field as a quarterback, running back. Not quite his career high. He had 219 last week against South Carolina, but he's creeping towards it.
Well, you can see Casey Dick continues to operate at quarterback. Gives it to McFadden. You see the little hop step on the counter, and he's going to be stopped after a short game. Dr. Punch, back to you.
Well, Ron, Darren McFadden is so popular with the players and coaches because of his sense of humor. He's a fun-loving and funny guy, almost the unofficial team clown. In fact, last week on Halloween, he dressed up as a clown and wore this outfit all day to class, all over campus. That is Darren McFadden, folks, on Halloween in his official clown costume here as a part of the Razorbacks. What a great kid.
And the other reason that the players and coaches love him so much, Houston Nutt said, and Houston Nutt was at Oklahoma State when Barry Sims was there, said not quite as tough as Barry Sims was, but Sanders. So, excuse me, Barry Sanders. Apologize. Not quite as tough, but right behind Sanders in toughness, and that's a pretty good compliment.
Flag comes down. Murphy was the intended receiver, and they may have called pass interference on Demetrius Morley.
They're going to have to come over and discuss with the line judge what he saw.
Pass interference. Defense. Ball be placed in the spot of the foul. First down.
Now, Morley's just had a very difficult game. He's got the left hand on the back of Murphy is why they call that.
Not a loss of very much, but it's another first down. Ball is placed down at the spot of the foul, so it is at the 31-yard line. Great view of Razorback Stadium, and with this ball game at 31-7, trust me, nobody has left here. They're enjoying every second of this one. 6.5 minutes left to play. Hit from behind and knocked down is Jones. And Brian Kenny, let's check with you.
Ron, another ranked team in danger here. Oklahoma trailing Texas Tech, but there's Chris Brown. Will not go down and cuts back in. 40 yards for the touchdown run. It's 27-24. Tech, though, driving and getting close, Ron.
Wow. Sooners 27-24.
What an excellent job by Bob Stoops and his staff. Talk about the guys they lost. Rhett Bomar, Adrian Peterson goes down. Alan Patrick has done an amazing job coming in and filling that role.
He is a really good running back as well. Here comes McFadden, and he's going to go for short yardage to around the 34-yard line. And right now, they would be satisfied with another timeout or two, and not timeout, but first down, and just let that clock run. Saturday, ABC, home of the most anticipated matchup in college football this year. It's #2 Michigan and #1 Ohio State, 3:30 Eastern on ABC HD, presented by Best Buy.
Well, Ron, you got my pick. I think Michigan wins in a close one. What do you think of the game?
I don't disagree. I've said Michigan for several weeks, and I can't, I've been riding that horse, so I can't hop off right now.
Yeah, and I think Mike Hart can be a difference in that game, keeping Troy Smith off the field.
But I think what you said earlier, the Michigan defense will be the difference in that ball game. Zings the pass. That's Monk. Has it complete at the 46-yard line. Monk presents a problem for any secondary at 6'6", and plus his leaping ability. But folks, as Ed made the point in the first half, he never catches the ball in his body. It's with his hands.
And he's your best player outside, but I think at some point, Ron, they should probably get him on the sideline. I mean, the late hit coming, not late hit, but the hit coming in there by Wilson with those sore ribs, you've got to start thinking about Mississippi State next week and then LSU to finish the season. He's awfully sore. I'd send him to the house.
10-14 for Casey Dick, 154 yards. And the clock running now under 4:40 left to play. Here's McFadden. Turns it back up inside. Alex Jones, beg your pardon. Inside the 45 to around the 43. Stewart makes the tackle. And it's going to be a tough trip back to Knoxville. But as the head coach said, as they won it at halftime when he talked with Dr. Punch, made no bones about it. He said, we've got to tackle the guy. We have not been able to do so. So it's one of those things where, you come on the road, and when you have a freshman quarterback making his first start in leagues like this, not very many times do they walk away with a victory. It just doesn't happen.
You know what I liked with Coach Fulmer talking to Dr. Punch? He didn't sugarcoat it. McFadden's just the difference maker tonight, and he's the best player in the field, and that's why we are where we are. And we've talked about it all night, Ron. I think that McFadden gets into the Heisman talk, and I think Arkansas I really think you have to start. If you're going to talk about a one-loss team in the national championship, I think you have to start talking about this much if they win out. And obviously, that's the key for them to stay with only one loss. But I think you've got to start talking about it.
And that game in Manhattan, Kansas is very large as far as this team as well. And with the Colt McCoy out of the ball game, and they really haven't played anybody else.
No, and they'll have Texas A&M at home at their place. If McCoy's not able to go, it'll be very difficult.
Third down, the line to make is the 36. McFadden back in the ball game, but they go play action. They're going to go on top. At the 5-yard line, the ball is overthrown. A lot of pushing and shoving, but there's not going to be a call as Crawford, the intended receiver. And Dr. Punch, back to you.
Yeah, talking about what's going to happen here on out with the Razorbacks. Remember that Houston Nutt told us about when they got hammered early on in the opening game against USC, and they gave them 5 turnovers and 30 points. And Southern Cal didn't need any help, but they gave it to him. He said there are a lot of people who said, you know, this team's not going to be very good. So those are the same people now who are chiming in saying you're on your way to Atlanta. He pulled those 19 seniors together, and it was that leadership that made a difference, and it's put them on this 9-game win streak.
Okay, Doc, thank you. Skinner going through that pre-kick routine again, and this one's end over end. I can never tell when the pre-kick routine says it's going to go end over end. Can you?
Yeah, but it always goes inside the 15 when he does it.
31-7 Razorbacks. And Tennessee comes to the line of scrimmage quickly. Tailback. And they give it to him, and he will go for, well, he's still on his feet, close to 10 yards. And let's check in with Brian Kennett.
Ron, let's just quickly look at the other games on the ESPN family of networks. LSU still leading Alabama within a touchdown, though, over on ESPN. And Wake Forest looking for its first ever 9-win season at the half, leading Florida State on ABC. Looking for their first win in Tallahassee since the 50s, Ron.
Wow, that Wake Forest team, we've done them twice this year. They're not just impressive, and they're not doing with smoke and mirrors. They're a good football team. Straight ahead with the running play here. Hewitt makes the stop on Hardesty, but he came bursting through, and Tennessee with an injured player down back at the 15-yard line. That looks like Eric Young, but he is back up, and it's going to come to the huddle.
And Ron, every single TV that is attached in the parking lot will be turned to ESPN to watch the end of that LSU-Alabama. With this win tonight, if LSU loses to Alabama, the ticket is punched. Arkansas is going to Atlanta. And after a 5-6 and 4-7 season, what an amazing turnaround by Houston Nutt after 2 very difficult years.
Well, they roll it out, throw the pass complete to Meacham, and Meacham steps out of bounds at the 42-yard line and delivered a pretty good lick on Kevin Woods at the same time.
Well, and not only will they punch their ticket to the SEC championship game, but I think that Arkansas has a very legitimate chance to get into the argument of who should be in the national championship. If they win out, they'll have huge wins against Tennessee, LSU, and then, of course, Florida, who they hope to only have 1 loss. The computers will love them by the end. The pollsters will finally wake up and say, yeah, this is pretty good. And as we've already started to see, Ron, 1-loss teams, they will lose and start to fall behind them.
Play action here, good protection. Far sideline, this one's overthrown. Closest man to it actually was number 3, Kevin Woods. And that stops the clock. 1:09 to play.
And what I mean by the pollsters will wake up and finally give them credit. Can you believe that the Harris Interactive and the USA Today, the 2 human polls that are factored in the BCS, had Auburn at number 5 and Arkansas at number 11. And Arkansas went on the road, rushed for over 300 yards, and won 27-10 at Auburn. It's just sometimes mind-boggling how those things are factored.
Darn hard to figure.
Yes, it is.
Crompton, here comes pressure. Going to run it, and tries to get a harm's way, and does at the 49. So here are the standings in the BCS. Ohio State and Michigan, they meet next Saturday.
And Texas is struggling right now against Kansas State with Colt McCoy out. And like I said, listen, it's very important for this conference. Florida had a tough one today. against USC. They play Western Carolina, but then they play Florida State, Ron, and Florida State has the athletes to beat Florida. So this conference really wanting to try to get 2 one-loss teams into the championship game to have a chance for the national title.
Over the middle, got that one complete, and there's Meacham again. Let me say this as they're moving the sticks. Wake Forest leading 20-0 over Florida State in Tallahassee. They've never come close to winning there. My vote, and I mean, I hope everybody else with Jim Grove has got to be the National Coach of the Year. I'm sorry. He's got talent, but he doesn't have the kind of talent that other people that are winning.
Well, you know, a lot of people say maybe Lloyd Carr, but Lloyd Carr's got a lot of stallions at Michigan, and they're playing well. But I'm with you. I think Jim Grove, not only ACC, but National Coach of the Year as well.
Pass over the middle, got him open at the 15-yard line. And this is Brett Smith, and he is going to score the 5 and touchdown into the end zone. 30 seconds showing on the clock.
And check to see if Reggie Herring's okay, because they've been fighting so hard, and coaches always talk about, we don't worry about the stats. Well, Reggie Herring didn't want a touchdown put on his defense.
No.
But don't listen. They've played lights out. Look how upset he's up there talking. He's yelling at the guys upstairs. Who missed the tackle? Where's my safety?
They're going to go for 2 points right here. But Coach Fulmer will say, nope, they're going to kick it. I beg your pardon. Will Hoyt will boot it away. Woods is the holder. Ball is down and the kick is up and good. Casey, a wide receiver, and you don't always see that, but Will Hoyt selected him. They have been friends. He said his dad is a coach. He keeps me very calm, and he said, in fact, I like having him around, unlike what most kickers like to have happen under pressure situations.
Well, and Will Hoyt, who is about to get a master's in sports psychology, knows what it's like, knows what it means to have a calming force out there, especially when he has to kick game winners like he did against Florida a couple years ago.
So the Tennessee coaching staff will tell their guys, hey, we just got it handed to us tonight, but you had the courage to stick with it and come back and score on that last drive.
And you have to think also, Ron, they had such a difficult loss. Tennessee had such a difficult loss at home against Florida. They bounced right back. Then last week they had such a difficult loss at home against LSU. And Coach Fulmer was very honest with us on the phone. He said, boy, our guys didn't look very good at practice yesterday. And so I think some of those difficult losses starting to add up. And when you come in and see a guy like Darren McFadden, who has now become such a dynamic force for this offense.
Well, the noise is really coming up now. Arkansas has never opened 6-0, not in conference play. They've hit a roadblock someplace along the way. Well, that reality is about to set in. 30 seconds, 30 ticks left on the clock. And Colquitt prepares to onside kick this one. Arkansas with a good hands team, bringing everybody up close.
Yeah, they need to move a little closer. The second line needs to be just behind that first line. There you go. Come on, wave up. Bring them up.
Tennessee made the recovery. And a reminder, next Saturday, number 2 Michigan takes on number 1 Ohio State. And somebody probably is going to have a trip to the BCS championship game, if they win that one. 3:30 Eastern Time, college football presented by Best Buy.
Well, we've been talking about Darren McFadden as a Heisman candidate, but right now, the man who's leading the polls at the midterm election polls is Troy Smith. I think he's going to have tough sledding against Michigan, but he was awfully poised. The biggest game of the year up until the one coming against Michigan was at Texas, and he looked great. So who knows? At home, he may be very poor.
A Texas loss tonight would not help Ohio State, though. This pass thrown complete at the 40. Quickly out of bounds is Brett Smith, and that'll stop the clock with 16 seconds left.
Well, the Arkansas fans booing, but you've got a young quarterback, Ron, and you want to see him do this type of stuff. I just think they should have been doing it from about midway through the third quarter.
Well, things are a little different right now. We're not talking about the same intensity or the same personnel necessarily on the field either. But the point is, Tennessee's doing. Deep pass, flag over the middle, pass incomplete at the 12-yard line. Boy, some kind of collision down there between Smith and Richardson and Woods.
Yeah, I think Woods hurt himself. May have dinged him. I think he led a little bit with his head and may have knocked himself out, Ron.
Now the clock has...
On the defense, 12 men on the field.
12 men on the field. The clock...
15-yard penalty, first down.
They need to address the clock. It ran all the way down to double zeros. So I'm not sure that the officials, they haven't seen that as yet, and now they have noticed. And they'll have to go back and probably take a look at the play and see how much should have run off.
To 12 seconds.
There you go.
Okay, they'll set it back at 12 seconds.
And Woods, complete helmet-to-helmet hit. And they've already lost Michael Grant at that free safety position. They moved Jarrell Norton, a promising true freshman who'd been practicing at cornerback, over to free safety, but he'd only been practicing for a week. So already thin at that position.
Norton's going to go in. They mentioned the fact that he would be available to play. Number 22, a freshman out of Cedar Hill, Texas.
Well, in a defense that already has a bunch of guys banged up. We talked about Marcus Harrison, who did not play tonight with a concussion and a knee. Elijah Butu has the knee, the ankle. I mean, these guys are taped together to hold the best passing offense in the SEC to 14, maybe 21 if Tennessee can score here, but kind of a meaningless score would be an amazing job by this defense.
12 seconds on the clock, and the crowd trying to help out the defense to keep Tennessee out of the end zone again. Great protection this time. Throws for the end zone, and that one is way overthrown. 6 seconds left.
And this is David Cutcliffe wanting to see his young quarterback in this situation. You just want to see, if the score was 21-14, how would he handle himself?
Yeah.
And it is a little different. You mentioned a little different intensity, of course, but trust me, Arkansas doesn't want to let it score. So this is good work for a young quarterback.
Here comes the crowd again, and they know this probably, unless we have a penalty, is going to be the final play of the ball game. Over the middle, the ball, the receiver fell down at the 10-yard line. One tick. That's all they have to run off the clock. That's Briscoe, the intended receiver. And Coach Nutt is going to realize something that no Arkansas team has done, and that is start off the season in the SEC at 6-0.
And how proud is he after such 2 difficult years? They had the dark cloud of sanctions hanging over their head for 4 years. It took 4 years to decide what to do. People negative recruited against them. 19 seniors rallied together after the loss to SC and have put themselves in position to go to the SEC championship game.
Throws this one, just throws it away. This one's in the record books. The Arkansas Razorbacks, one step closer to Atlanta. Crowd standing and cheering as they have just won a decisive victory over the University of Tennessee. And I mean, they did it in a commanding fashion. 30